Black people need to stop supporting black business if we want to see black business grow. Yes, I said that. And if you stick around for this episode, you will understand exactly what I mean by that. All that and more coming up today on Thoughts That Count with Poloko. I want to know what you think about this. Do you remember the time when the hydration drink Prime launched in South Africa? It was absolutely wild. Checker stores all across the country looked something like this.
Prime.
Down, run. Damn, these kids are going crazy.
Chickens go Prime.
Now, when this was happening, people on social media were quick to compare Prime to Mo Fire, which is a South African energy drink. First of all, it's two different products in two different categories, but you know that once it's on social media, it is on, and people don't really care about reason or anything like that. And it was very interesting to just read some of the comments and hear what some people are saying on videos and just get into the comments just to see where people are and what people are thinking. Now, I believe it's very important for us to talk about what it is that people are thinking and what people are pushing because, as you know, the name of this show is Thoughts That Count, because I really do believe that how we think really shapes how we live. How we think tells us a lot about what our lives are really to become. So when this was happening, I read a lot of comments, but one of the comments that really stood out to me, was this one here that says, DJ's Boo had to beg people on the streets to buy his drink. But now we are buying this Prime drink in bulk, which we know nothing about with our last cents simply because it's from America. Now, when I read this, I thought about two things immediately. First of all, one of our problems is that we look at somebody who is selling, somebody who is marketing, somebody who is pushing their product passionately on the streets, and we call it begging. That right there is a problem. My friend, if we can look at somebody who is passionately selling and marketing and pushing their product on the streets and call it begging, then we have a long way to go, right? And so it is absolutely ridiculous to look at somebody who is pushing their product and call it begging. He's selling. And yes, some people are going to say no. And I never for a moment thought that DJ's Boo was begging. When I saw him on an airplane telling people about Mo Fire, I didn't think that he was begging. I thought that he was letting people know about his brand. He was letting people know about this product, which would soon become what it is right now, and which I really do believe that it is still to grow and it is still to become something even bigger than what we can imagine right now. And so it is absolutely horrific that as black people, we can look at another black person selling, marketing, advertising, telling the world about their brand and call it begging. We need to change that kind of mentality. We need to get rid of that way of thinking because you can't possibly look at somebody who is passionate about what they do and say that they are begging. And the second thing that stood out to me when I read this comment is that if you assume that the reason why Prime is successful is simply because it is American, then you miss the opportunity to learn anything else from their success. If when you look at an international brand that is able to break markets in your own country, and you think that the only reason it's succeeding is because it's an American brand, then you miss the opportunity to learn anything else about that success. Because of course there are other factors that contribute to its success. And so I really do believe that that is a dangerous way of thinking. You can't just look at something and say, no, it's only succeeding because it's American. If we want to win, we need to be thinking about, okay, how do I win in America? How do I win in South Africa? If they were able to win in South Africa, what did they do that I have missed? Why is it that there are kids who are lining up for this thing? You understand what I'm saying? So we have to be able to think bigger than that. We have to be able to think differently. We have to shift the way that we think. And in the midst of all of this, while this was happening and while people were going crazy about Prime versus Mo Fire, DJ's Boo also responded to this on his YouTube. And this is a little bit of what he said.
Though I know we're all different, we vibrate different as entrepreneurs or as human beings, other people might just choose to be jealous. I'm not jealous, I'm always inspired. So I want to congratulate Logan Paul. I want to congratulate his team. I want to congratulate ShopRite Checkers and the company that is going to be handling the marketplace locally. We don't compete with them. Our price range is different from them. Our category is different from them. They are more of a sports drink. We are an energy drink. And when they're trending, etc., we don't get jealous.
Now, here's what I think about all of this. When I first saw the buzz around the prime drink in South Africa, the first thing I did is I went on YouTube, I went on TikTok, Instagram, I went on all these social media platforms looking for these guys who are the faces of the prime drink, which is Logan Paul and KSI. They're influencers. I believe KSI is from the UK, if I'm not mistaken, and Logan Paul is from America. But when I saw this, I had to go and see what is it about these guys that they are winning the way that they are winning. What is it about these guys that they were able to create such a name, such a buzz, right? Because I really do believe that success leaves clues. We've been told this over and over again, that success leaves clues. When you see someone successful, study them. Try to learn something. Try to find something out. Ask the questions. Go do your research on their lives, because there must be a clue somewhere there on how you also can win. And so when I saw this, I went on their social media and I was looking for two things. The two things that I was looking for primarily was, how did they build their individual brands over the years? Right? I started looking at KSI. I started looking at Logan Paul. Over the years, how did they build their massive individual brands? Because they must have done something. There's something there for me to learn. There's something there for me to pick up and run with it. So that was my first question. How did they build their individual brands? And number two, my second question, which I'm still trying to figure out, was why does their collaboration work so well? Right? Listen, if you are in business, if you create content, if you do anything, at some point you might have tried to collaborate with some people and it didn't work. There's just something beautiful about a collaboration that works. And so I wanted to find out, and I still want to find out, why is it that their collaboration works so well? What is the secret? What makes it so effective? These are questions that I wanted to know. And so I look at these brands that are capable of breaking international markets because I want to learn. I want to learn. As a speaker, I look at speakers who come to South Africa and get all of this attention, and people listen to them. Let me tell you something. I used to work for a church, and when I worked for a church, our church would have international speakers. And as a young man, I would sit there and listen to these guys, and I was like, these guys are no better than the speakers that I've heard locally. Right? Especially in church, because they preach from the same book, right? They preach from the same book. They tell the same story of the gospel. But on the day when they are there, the church is full and everyone is excited and the energy is amazing. But they preach the same message. You understand what I'm saying? And so instead of getting mad at that, instead of being bitter and saying, yeah, but I can also do the same thing, I have to be able to say, how can I do the same thing that they are doing here in America? I want to be an international speaker. My bad, let me rephrase that. I will be one of the most sought after international speakers. And so I want to figure out how to do that. And so when I see somebody who is a sought after international speaker speaking in South Africa, I don't get mad. I want to learn. I want to understand how they did it. And in all honesty, I might be a better speaker than they are. But that's neither here nor there, because they have figured out how to do it in South Africa. You understand what I'm saying? And so success leaves clues, and we need to be able to ask the questions that'll help us be able to do what it is that we are so mad about. Right? If we want to become better, we have to be able to ask the questions, the right questions. And that's how we grow. So with this whole idea of black business and supporting black business and getting mad when we see people support other brands and other businesses, when we believe they should be supporting black business, I really do believe that one of the disadvantages that a black man has in business is that they are still judged by the color of their skin. In 2023, we need to move away from judging black people by the color of their skin. The black man for as long as 500 years has been judged by the color of his skin. For many years. It has to end now. And sometimes we really miss it because we think that just because it is the other way around, it's better. It's not better. It's not better. We can't still be looking at a black man and judging him by the color of his skin. Whether it is to say let's support him because he is black or let's not support him because he is black, we need to stop weighing black people based on the color of their skin. And let me say this. Black business people and aspiring business people who are black need to stop weighing themselves and judging themselves by the color of their skin and rather by their competence. When we judge ourselves by our competence, we get better. When we judge ourselves and weigh ourselves up by our competence, we're able to grow, we're able to become better. Yes, we're not perfect, and yes, we're not growing, and yes, we are still learning. But we don't grow and we don't become better when we sit there and say, support me because I'm black. We will lose every single time. As a speaker, as a young black South African speaker, I don't look at companies and people and say, put me on stage because I am young and black and I need the opportunity. I'm constantly and consistently working on myself and honing myself and putting myself out there. Learning, asking questions, talking to the right people, searching up until I get to a point where I can find what works and what's going to make me a great speaker as well. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that we should be despising or learning from international brands that are able to achieve massive success in our own country?
When you change your thoughts, you change your life. This is Thoughts That Count with Poloko.
We have popularized this idea of supporting businesses that are owned by black people simply because they are black owned. We have to get rid of this idea of supporting black business. It is a terrible idea. It's insulting, first of all, to an entrepreneur, to a business person who worked hard to create an incredible brand, who worked hard to create a great product or service, who worked hard to build a company, who put their blood, sweat, and tears into creating something that is exceptional, something that serves the community, something that improves people's lives. And then we come along and say, oh, we're going to support because you're black. What about the work that I have put into this? Listen to me. When you are in the club drinking whatever it is that you drink that was founded by a white man, you don't drink it because you are supporting a white business. You don't say that. You love the brand. When you are wearing whatever you are wearing that comes from Europe, that comes from Italy, you don't do that. You don't say, I'm supporting white business, I'm supporting Italian business. That's not what you're doing. You are passionate about the brand. You love the brand. You love the product. Right? And that's the biggest compliment to a creator. That is the biggest compliment to a business person, the entrepreneur, the dreamer, the innovator, the person who created whatever it is that you are so passionate about. It's the biggest compliment to them. And then it comes to the black person, your neighbor, your brother, your sister, and you say, I'm going to get this because you're black. Yeah. I'm going to get this because you're black. Otherwise, I would have been getting such and such by so and so. But just because you're black, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do you a favor because you are black. And it's terrible because businesses that are owned by black people these days have become synonymous with charity. It has become synonymous with cheap. It has become synonymous with subpar. And that's a terrible and destructive idea. And so I want to talk to you about why this idea I find to be destructive and discrediting. I just want to speak to you on these 2 points, just destructive and discrediting. I really do believe that at its core, the idea of supporting black business is destructive and discrediting. First of all, I find it destructive because I want to tell you a story rather. Let me tell you a story. There was a time a couple of years ago, I was hosting a youth event. And on this event, it was for the purpose of encouraging young people, motivating them, and also giving them a platform to showcase their talent. And so we were going to have hundreds of young people come through, and we were going to have their peers performing, rapping, dancing, singing, and whatever it is that they do. We're going to give them a platform to do that among their peers so that the kids in their town can get to see them. This was a beautiful initiative. And I was doing this without any funding, without any sponsorship. And so one of the things I had to do was get a venue, and I spoke to a principal from this high school. They offered me the school hall. I said, great, I'm going to host it in the school hall. And then I had to find sound. Now, if you have hosted an event, you know that a terrible sound system can ruin everything. And so I look around for good sound system, and then I end up with 2 quotations. And it just so happened that one of the quotations was from a very popular business around town, which provides sound and lights and all that sort of thing. And they have a good reputation. And it just so happens that it is owned by a white man. And the second one was one that I had never heard of before. But in my mind, when I met him, I thought to myself, here's another young black man who is doing something for himself. Let me support his business. I'm a young black man myself, and he's a young black man who is doing his own thing. Let me support him. And I want you to understand this. I'm not saying that it was wrong to support him. I'm saying that it was wrong for me to make my decision based on the fact that he is black, and not on the basis of his reputation, not on the basis of his competence. Not because I knew anything else about him. Just because he told me a couple of stories, he said, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. I said, oh, nah, great then. Let's do it. Said, I have this and that and that. I said, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's do it. To cut this whole story short, the guy stole our money, didn't show up on the day of the event. Up until the event, I paid him in full. I said, hey man, listen, come through. I'm going to pay you in full. I trust you. You and I are going to have a great working relationship. Paid him in full on the day of the event. Yep, I'm on my way, man. I'll be there soon. Come the time of the event, the man is late. When I tell you we started that event about 5 or 6 hours late because we had to run around and find an alternative plan for sound system. We were getting a speaker there, a mixer there, just to make sure that we get this whole thing going. And on the day, there were hundreds of young people who showed up. Many of them ended up leaving because we were so late. We had a terrible feedback with the school because we were supposed to be out at this time, but we stayed there much longer than we were supposed to. There were so many things that happened as a result of that. But what I'm saying to us is, as a result of me simply supporting because I'm supporting black business and not on the basis of competence, not on the basis of good reputation, not on the basis of anything else other than supporting black business, I messed up. I had a terrible image. I had all these people who showed up and were disappointed in me, right? And so here's another young black man who has destroyed his reputation, his image with the people that are working with him, simply because he looks incompetent. I now look incompetent. And I can't say, nah, but it was so-and-so. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's my point. This is why I say to us that it is destructive, right? I tell you the story just to give you an illustration. And there are many stories to this as well, right? When I launched my second book, I remember I looked for printers because we're doing this independently, and my book is self-published. When I was looking for printers, I was looking and I found a black business. I said, here's a black business that's doing amazing, and they say they're doing a phenomenal job. I saw their operation. I said, okay, great, then let's work with them. And guess what? I just want to apologize, by the way, once again to anybody who has the first printed copy of this book. It was late, it was terrible, the quality was bad. And once again, I'm not saying that I was wrong to support a black-owned business. I'm saying that I was wrong to support a black-owned business simply because it is a black-owned business. It's a destructive idea to think that we need to support businesses simply because they're black. We don't grow. We don't become better. We don't realize when we are messing up. We don't realize when we are incompetent. We don't realize when we are not fit to compete in the marketplace simply because we have been encouraged to just be supported because we are black, right? Just support me because I'm black. Love me because I am black. I want you to understand that I'm not speaking against black-owned businesses. I'm saying this to say to us, we need to shift at most to supporting black excellence. We need to look for black excellence. If we are going to support black business, if we're going to support black creatives or black whatever, we need to look for excellence. This pushes us to be excellent at what we do. This pushes us to be better at what we do. We need to be looking for excellence. And number two, the reason why I think it's discrediting, the reason why I think the idea of supporting black business is discrediting is because of this, right? First of all, to discredit someone is to harm their reputation or to make them seem unreliable. That's what it means to discredit someone. Now, most of the time when we hear black business, we expect cheap. And that's really a problem. When we hear black business, we expect cheap, we expect subpar, we expect charity. Sometimes we even expect to get it for free. You know what I'm saying? So it is discrediting because the moment that we look at a great business, a great company, a great brand, a great service deliverer, and we say that they are black business, what we often do is we take away from everything else that they are. They are more than just a black business, right? You look at the example of MoFire, for example. MoFire is more than just a black business, right? It is an energy drink brand. It is a company. They offer a great product. And by the way, this is not sponsored by MoFire. Just making a point to us. Right? I want to put myself in a position where I'm not supported simply because I'm a young black man. I want people to buy my book and my books in the future because they can genuinely be helpful to them. I want to know that my books are going to help you. Not because I'm black. I don't want to show up to you and say, buy my book because I'm black and I'm an author, so support a black author. No. I don't want that. I want you to embrace what I do because I'm good at it. I want you to embrace what I do because I'm excellent at what I do. And so we see this happen often, right? Say a young black man from the township wants to start a fashion brand. He goes out looking for the best quality of t-shirts. He puts on the best design. It's very creative. You can see the talent. He goes out there looking for the best of the best, comes back with it and sells it. Sells a t-shirt for 400 rands. 400 rands, he's selling this t-shirt because it is indeed great quality. He didn't have a choice. He had to go find great quality. And the first thing we say is, yeah, but what makes you think that yours can be 400 rands when I can buy it at Nike for the same price? And listen, Nike did not come close to the cost that this man had to incur for a single t-shirt, right? You'll find that it cost him about 320 rands to get that to deliver that 400 rands t-shirt to you. Cost him about 320 rands, and he didn't have a choice. And so what I'm saying is, normally when we hear black, we just think cheap. Immediately we think cheap. We think that's my cheaper option, right? It's absolutely okay for that black business down the road to not be your cheaper alternative. Sometimes it won't be, right? But it can be the better alternative, the better quality, right? Better service deliverer. Not necessarily the cheaper one, but the best one. But what we have done is we have programmed our people to think that the black alternative is the cheaper alternative. If we can bring ourselves, if the black business owner, the creator, the entrepreneur can bring themselves to really to a point where What I deliver is better. It's not cheaper because I'm black, but it's better. This, my friend, is how we change. This is how we grow. And so, I say this not just to speak to the people who are supporting black business, but to say to the entrepreneur as well that you would not view yourself as a charity case. Stop seeing yourself as a charity case. Stop thinking, I've got to be supported because I'm black. Please support me because I'm black. No. Get better at what you do. Be a competitor in the marketplace. Right? Get good to the point where you cannot be ignored. Make sure that whatever you do, you become the person that will be supported. Not just because you're black. You need to stop with this whole rhetoric of being supported simply because you are black. We need to get to a point where black means excellence. And so, on the topic of excellence, I want to give you 2 points, and then we're going to wrap this up. Let me just give you 2 points, right? 2 points on excellence. How is it that we arrive at excellence? 3 points, as a matter of fact. My bad on that. 3 points. I want to give you 3 points which are major contributors to excellence. Number 1, do the little things well. Do the little things well. This is how a culture of excellence is cultivated and created. You do little things well, right? If I am hired to speak, if you book me to speak at your event, it's a matter of me arriving on time, me communicating with you way ahead of time before I get there, me speaking to you on the phone way ahead of time to find out what do you want me to talk about. I call my clients and I say, listen, what is the biggest talking point that you want me to touch on? I'm not going to bring a one-size-fits-all speech and bring it to your people. I want to know, who am I talking to? What do they need? Is there anything else that you need from me? I'm going to do the little things well. In my preparation, I want to know who I'm talking to so that I can make sure that my introduction, my opening is good. I can spend hours working on the first minute. Do the little things well. Number 2, be consistent. Be consistent. Consistency in your actions and in your character. The best advice I ever received was that when people don't know what to expect from you, they stop expecting anything. Think about that for a moment. When people don't know what to expect from you, they stop expecting anything. Be consistent in your actions and be consistent in your character. And number 3, value your reputation. You have to value your reputation because your name goes ahead of you. Your name walks into certain rooms and speaks on your behalf, and that's what determines whether those doors will be opened or closed for you. Your name matters. Your name is everything. Do whatever it takes to fix your reputation. Do whatever it takes to make sure that you make things right with people. Value your reputation. Think on those 3 points, and let us make sure that we begin to create a culture of excellence, especially among black businesses, black creators, black dreamers, innovators, entrepreneurs. Let us create a culture of excellence. My friend, my name is Poloko, and these are Thoughts That Count.
This was Thoughts That Count with Poloko. We hope you've been inspired, encouraged, and challenged to make every thought count. See you on the next episode.